So welcome everyone, say hi. I've already started. Actually, I was only pressing, just getting it rolling, but here you go. So to make a wrap skirt is super simple. You don't even need a pattern. You just need to know how to sew a few darts. Speaking of darts, if you've ever, I've got Lucy over here. Shirley's over there. We'll call this one Lucy. If you've ever had a top where you end up with gapping in your arm area here, yesterday we had a great lesson in Fashion Sewing Club. So pop in there. You can watch the replay. If you're new to the club, you just pop in. It'll be the first one that pops up for you to watch. And we had a great tutorial on how to fit that little gapping area and where to move that dart. All right, I see you all rolling in. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. What is on your sewing table today? Just out of curiosity. Today, I have this new cotton fabric. I just got a whole bolt in, many different colors. I'm using white because I'm probably going to hand dye it later. But for now, I just need a bathing suit cover up for the weekend. So that's what we're going to do. All right, I can see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's head over. I'll show you how this works. Yes, and also how to sew darts. You're right. Yesterday we talked about how to sew darts where you don't end up with headlights. That's very important. Today we're sewing darts in a skirt. You don't want headlights there either, last I checked. But yep, that was in Fashion Sewing Club. You should join us if you love sewing garments. All right, so I've got a piece of fabric here. And you probably won't see my head, but you can kind of see what's here. Let me see if I can bring it up just a little bit, the camera. And I'll lighten it up a little bit. What do you think of my peace lily over there? That one right there. I haven't been in the studio for a week, and that poor little thing needs some major water. That's all I got to say. All right, I'll make it just a little brighter. There you go. How's that? Better? Okay. So here I have just plain old cotton fabric. It's a little see-through, but it's a bathing suit cover-up, right? So yesterday I showed this fabric to the Fashion Sewing Club, and I said I don't think I would use it for a skirt. It's just a little see-through, but a bathing suit cover-up is going to be perfect. All right, so what I've done is I have this section here. You probably want to know how long this is. Let me find a measuring tape. Hold tight. How about a yardstick? Oh my gosh. So after last week's show, I have to tell you, I always read your comments, even if you watch the replay. So if you're watching the replay, say hi. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. But I was looking at the YouTube comments, and I can't remember if it was Teresa, somebody on there. I just laughed right out loud. So thank you for the funny laugh. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I was making something really cute, and she's like, don't you have a quilter's ruler and a rotary cutter? This would have been so much faster. And I was dying laughing because, yes, I do. And that table was totally covered with fabric, so I couldn't use that table. So I don't know what we'll use today. Scissors. My print mode is talking to me. I've been working on that today. All right, so you want to measure on your body where your waist is that you want the top of the waist to go. So let me measure this way. Up, this will probably maybe tie about right here. And I want it to go about probably where my shorts are, like 12 inches. So 12 inches. You need a little seam allowance for the waistband and a seam allowance for the hem. So let's see how I did. 16 inches. Might be too long, but that's right. And then I have enough for the waistband, and that's cut 4 inches wide. And this is just one width of fabric. I think the print moda is doing an update. Is it doing an update? Oh, yeah. It's doing an update. All right, let me find scissors. If you ever cut your fabric like this, now, by the way, I can do it because it's 100% cotton, and I just cut right along the grain line. So I'm going to do this on the dress form, but I'll show you on my own body first what you're going to end up doing. So do you want it to wrap in the front or the side? It's totally up to you. I'm probably going to have mine wrap Wait a minute, this is really cute, even without a tie. What the heck? Maybe we'll just do it like this, because it's a bathing suit cover-up. You want it short, right? Why am I making so much work? Okay, so this is what we'll do. It looks just about perfect as far as the width. I want it wider so I can scrunch it up. So in that case, I'm changing my mind. Why don't we do a couple darts so it can fit in the back? You don't want it to be too bulky. And let's curve the fronts. Now I have to go find the rotary cutter. Hold on. Hold on. I know it's here. Which one, right? And then you hope that it's one that is sharp. Let's see. Let's give it a go. I will meet you over at the cutting table. Done. Susan's like, done. Yeah, this is going to be the fastest skirt you've ever seen. Ever. This is fantastic. I don't know why I didn't just wrap it around myself in the first place. I'd have 2 of these by now. I'll take you out just a little bit so you can see this. Okay, so this will be the waist up here. I'll flip it around. Here's the waist. I'll slide this up to the top. This is the selvage. We really don't, actually, I could probably leave the selvage on there. It's kind of cute, isn't it? A little roughly. Huh. No, we're not going to leave it. So it was pretty huge. I'm going to cut just a little bit off. So I'll cut down. And then let's curve that front. Might have gotten lucky. Did I grab a rotary cutter that actually is sharp? Maybe. So there's the curve. I'm just eyeballing it. And then I want to make sure that the hem, it looks like this is not even at all. So let's even it out. It was the beginning of the bolt. I always take the first piece off the bolt before I even sell the fabric, if I sell it or give it away or whatever I do with it. You want to know why? Because usually the first yard, it might have a little dirt on it. If it, if I had been moving around in the truck when it's being delivered, I always take the first piece. So, like hitting a bottle of champagne on your boat. I just took the first yard. So there's the waist. Let's make that a nice curve. Now I could do this in the serger or the sewing machine to hem that, but this is still way, 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 way too big. So let's go to the dress form and give ourselves some darts. Okay. I still might need this part for the waistband. I haven't decided yet. I have to finish it somehow, but it could be in the serger or sewing. So let's see what we got here. I've got a mic pack on, which makes a lot more bulk. And then if you're going to take this and then you're going to tie it, I don't know, this is a lot of fabric. But it is cute. So let's add a few darts. Start here. And depending how much junk you got in your trunk, your darts might be bigger than mine or smaller than mine. And what I want to show you here, I'm just lining this fabric up on the sides. But notice how much gap I have back here. Well, this is what I want to dart out. You have to be careful, though, because if you make it too tight, like I could pull it all the way like this, but if I do that, you can't walk in it. So what I want is this to be nice and fitted up against my waist area, and then this to be a little looser. So we're going to make a few darts. Let's see. Here's center back. I wanted it to be a little off-centered, right? We want to tie it right in the front? No, kind of like right here. So I have a pressed seam here for the center back. And while I'm at it, I'm going to I'm going to pin this with the wrong side facing out to make it easy. So I have that pressed area here on the side. Actually, I'll put it on this side because I know I don't want this to be totally in the center. And for anybody that just rolled in, we are making a bathing suit cover up. The fastest, easiest one ever. I was going to make Win an Angel cup holders. That was kind of boring. I thought this would be way more fun. So I want the darts. Let's make them a little curved. See if you can see the pinning here. I'm angling the darts like this, so they're not straight up and down. Fashion Sewing Club, we talked about sewing darts. This would be one where you don't want little points here. All right, let's go this one. You know what the best part of this is? It's cotton. I could wear it this weekend, and then when I get home, I can hand dye it if I so desire. The only thing is I'm going to use white thread for now. So if I hand dye it, I already have the machine ready. I didn't use cotton thread, which then the cotton thread would match the dyeing. So that's all right. I'll pick a color that would look good with white thread. How's that? All right, so I've got two darts, both going on the angle, as you can see here. Boom, boom. And let's go around to the side. You'll probably want a dart on the side because this is one piece of fabric. Last I checked, you might angle out on the sides. Not always, but if you angle out, you're going to need a dart there. Plus, this also allows, by adding these darts at the waist, it allows more fabric at the bottom to make it flowy. All right, and then the front. Let's add one more dart here on the side. I guess that Fashion Sewing Club meeting yesterday got me all inspired to sew a ton of darts. Okay. What do you think? Okay. And let's go to this side. Again, I'm adding side darts because I just have one piece of fabric. If I didn't add the side dart, I'd have too much gapping here. And also, I want this bottom part to be nice and flowy. So by adding a few darts here, it gives me more fabric at the bottom. And I have this inside out. So as I'm pinning, I can literally just go to the machine and sew darts. All right, so this side goes here, this side goes here. Let's see what we got. I don't think it's bad. I think it's going to be fine. Now let me check on my own body. Okay. I have a mic pack on, but I think if I go around the mic pack, I just want to make sure I have enough to tie. There's plenty of fabric here. I could technically make this a little bit not quite as wide, but so with the mic pack, how does it look? Yeah, at the beach it's going to be adorable. All right, let's sew our darts. I got it all ready. It's going to be the fastest skirt you've ever made in your whole life. Do you have any questions for me? Hey, Jill. Oh, Phyllis, you're right. It might be bulky. But I might have to just make it this way this time and test it. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all. Hey, Lisa. All right, let's sew these darts. And I think, Phyllis, you're probably right. You're always right, by the way. If you guys haven't seen the clothes Phyllis makes, absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So let me make sure these darts are angled the right way. I've got a am I looking at these backwards? Front dart angles out, side dart, back dart. These do not look even at all. This is the left side, so this is the side, that's the back. We need to angle this back one a little bit more. That looks better. Now these are both angled this way. When you do an angled dart, they won't match at the top, up here. And then we got the side, and then we have the front. All right. Let's get rolling. So I cannot tell if you can see me or not, so hopefully you can, because my back is to the camera. All right, let's see. This project right here would be a great way to practice your darts. One done. Oh, we'll leave that one for last. I don't like the angle of it's one of the front ones. I don't like it so much. So let's do a couple of these, see how they look, try it on, press it, and then we might add more. All right. One. Oh, I see somebody asking about my the raccoons up north. Well, they have multiplied. Funny how that happens. And they're way too trained, because at about 5:30 in the morning, when the sun comes up, they're all sitting on the back deck in a row. They look like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, except I'm the Snow White and they're the Seven Dwarfs. They sit there, they knock on the window. I'm thinking about getting them a dinner bell, but that would probably drive me crazy. That'd probably be like wind chimes, you know, on a windy day. But it would be every day, all day. But Rosie has her 3 little babies are out, but along with her 3 little babies are her 4 babies from last year, which are bigger. And then there's another mama that I haven't named yet. We haven't seen her babies yet. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, this looks good. So you can see how when I sew these darts, see that part in the back? I'll have to cut that off, because when you do darts on an angle, you'll end up with some extra fabric at the top. So let's see what this looks like. Looking good. That looks good. Oh, I have this wrong. Let's see. Oh, yeah, because I had it inside out, which means now I got to wrap it on the left side. And I'm usually a right wrapper. Oh well. I have a solution, Phyllis. I just thought of the solution. You know what it is? I'll show you. Not this part, the bulky part. Yeah, that's cute. And this one is angled a lot, though. Let me just see what this is going to look like. That's a lot of fabric. You are totally right, and we're going to fix it. All right, so this dart here needs to be more up and down. Use Velcro on the waistband. I know, I like that. Hey, Lisa, it's just, this is just white seersucker fabric. It's super soft, 100% cotton. Not bad. Velcro would be good. All right, let's go fix this dart. See how this one's all wonky? I want it curved a little bit, but not quite that much. Just go like that. Yeah. And then I have a feeling you're going to know what I've decided to do to get rid of all that bulk. But let's go back, sew this, and then we'll cut some more. Okay. Last dart that I think I'd need. Okay, hold tight. I'm going to take you over to the ironing board. There, that should work. Without making you seasick. All right. Press those darts. So the front ones go towards the center front. I don't have my ham here, but technically you should be using a ham because that will make a nice curve. This is a side seam. This one gets pressed to the back. There's a back seam. Press to the center back. And then we'll get rid of that crease. Center back goes to the center back. So those go this way. Sides go to the back. And I don't think I had a front one on this side. So now I need to measure again. If I want this to tie without my mic pack, I want this to go about here, and I want this to go about there. Let's cut. Find the scissors. Hope I didn't need that. And now I need to lay both of these out. I've got an idea. This is called designing on the run. Okay. Yeah, elastic would be a good idea. So you know that curve that we cut at the beginning? We're going to cut a little bit more here. So I'm just tracing this. All right, again, I'll try again with that mic pack. I got to remember I don't want that whole mic pack there. Yeah, this should work. All right, so next step. We need to hem. Now, in the serger, this would be really fast. Do I have white thread in the serger? I do not. So we're going to sew an itsy bitsy rolled hem here. So I'm just pressing under my hem about 1/4 of an inch. It might not be totally even as I'm pressing. I'm trying to make it even because my cutting wasn't that even. The curves get a little tricky. Let the fabric talk to you. Don't force it or you'll end up with puckers everywhere. Got some major steam coming up here. It's like a spa. All right. I'm going to go to the machine and stitch right next to this part that I've pressed. This is how I do a rolled hem. If you don't have a rolled hem foot, which I do, just not here. So I'm doing about a quarter of an inch. My needle's in the center position. My fabric's right up to the edge of my toe here. If you have an open toe foot, this would be a perfect opportunity to use that. Stitch length 2.5. You're probably like, wait, you got all this extra fabric. Don't worry, don't worry. For many, many years, when I made beautiful gowns for all my fashion shows, I would hem a rolled hem like this, because it always seemed to come out better than a rolled hem foot. It takes a little bit of time, though, because you have to do some cutting. But the other thing, by pressing this up first, if you cut where it wasn't totally straight or anything like that, or especially going around the curves, the pressing just makes it, you'll know exactly how your fabric's going to lay. You're not guessing. All right. Back over to the pressing board. Now what I do is I take my scissors and just trim right next to that stitch line. And once you get the fabric going, you can just glide your scissors, as long as you're using sharp scissors, like my fabulous Kai scissors here. The fabric's like shredding on me. Come on. I got to get it going so I can grab a little piece to help pull. And as you pull the fabric into the scissors, they usually trim off pretty darn fast, as long as I don't cut the fabric below. The curves are the hardest part. All right. So by the way, are you guys doing anything fun this weekend? I know it's only Wednesday. I feel like summer every day's a weekend, or should be. This fabric wants to just pull apart on those curves, so you need to trim it though, because then I'm going to flip this over one more time to have that beautiful, nice rolled hem. Also, because I'm using white thread, and if I decide to hand dye this, it'll just be the white thread for the hem instead of white thread for like a rolled hem on the serger. So a little bit less of an accent. Here we go. So I'm trying to decide if we should still just tie it in the front or add just a real cute waistband, since I have that fabric already cut. Here we go. This is what I was trying to explain. Once you get it rolling, I'm pulling this fabric right here and gliding my scissors underneath. Just be very careful that you don't accidentally cut the fabric underneath. I see somebody asking if I pre-washed this fabric. Nope, I did not. And guess what? It will shrink. Because it's 100% cotton, that's why. But it's a bathing suit cover-up, so I don't care. I didn't have time. The fabric just got here this week. All right. Let's go around that curve. We need music. Okay. And back up this side. See, this wasn't too painful. Usually I can do it about 3 times as fast, but this fabric did not want to behave. All right, so now starting at this end again, fold over your hem, your rolled, it's like the rolled edge. This is going to be a narrow rolled hem from scratch. The curves are the trickiest part. This is why I press them first. Okie doke. And because this little rolled hem here, this will look good on both sides of the fabric. So as we tie it in the front, if the hem kind of rolls up a little bit or folds out, it'll look fine. I love this seersucker fabric. So Fashion Sewing Club got a preview of what I ordered, but I've got some pink and white stripes. I've got blue and white stripes. I've got a rainbow color stripes. It's just such a soft fabric, breathable, great for summer, great for loose type clothing because there's no stretch. All right, make sure that that's a nice curve right there. That has a little bit of, there. Now we'll go sew this. Anybody have any questions on my way over, just to make sure? Oh, yeah, I did teach that there. Oh, that's going to be cute, Sandra. Oh, company picnic. Hopefully it's nice out. Jill, this is so bad. I've planted flowers at my office and 2 plants at the house. I just haven't had time to get my garden going. What am I waiting for? I don't know. Duckbill scissors will work good too. I don't like those as much though. Personally, because I just like those sharp kais that just glide through. And with the duckbill, you have to keep cutting. But that's a great option, especially if you're worried about cutting your fabric. All right. You probably want to go with me over here, huh? Nope, wrong one. How about this one? And then after this is finished, we'll double check if we want to add a little waistband so we have a tie to get rid of some of that bulk, or if we want to just leave it. I still have to finish the waistband area, so either way, I got to do something up there. You know, I love that idea, Phyllis, because I had a wrap skirt many, many years ago. I think it was one of the first skirts Win ever bought me when we were dating. I still have it. It was a Tommy Bahama. I love the fabric. And it just had one button in the front. That was more for dress, though, not a bathing suit cover-up. All right, getting around to my last curve here. I got to go a little slower around that curve, make sure that my stitches are straight. No need to backstitch because we're going to finish the waistband anyways. All right, let's see what we got. And then you guys can vote. The vote will be waistband or no waistband. So I still need to cut this top part off from the darts, but let's see what we got. And I have my mic pack and shorts on, so yeah, I love this. For a bathing suit cover-up, somebody probably logging in right now is like, whoa, what happened to your clothes? So if I put a little waistband on here, then I can tie it. And then it'll still give me these little rolls in the front and then the tie hanging down. This is looking good. Okay, where's my waistband? Here it is. See how much of this I want. Yeah, we'll use the whole thing. Go back to the sewing machine. Actually, no. Let's go here. Because I need to make sure that I have a similar amount left over on each side. So here's, first of all, there's the wrong side. This is the right side facing up. And I want to make sure that I have the same amount left over. So this is about a handful. And we need to cut this part off. This is the darts that we did. And this is about a handful. Perfect. You like my measuring? So right sides together, we're going to sew this entire thing on. The tie isn't, I thought there would be more to the tie, but I also want it to scrunch up the fabric. So we'll see how it works. So let's do about a 1/2 inch seam allowance this time. And this time you have to backstitch. And as I sew this to the waistband, I want to make sure my darts are facing the right direction. These are facing, this is the side seam, faces towards the back. So now we're at the back. One faces this way, the other faces the other way. Always put your darts towards the center of your body or the back of your body unless they're for a decoration of some sort. Then you can make your own rules. Or if you mess it up and you press them the wrong direction, just say it's a design element. No one will ever know. All right. Now, by the way, I haven't even used the serger. You could and make this even faster, but if you don't have a serger, this is a great tutorial for you because you can make this in just a few minutes without one. Jill says, wait, everybody says waistband. I guess I should have waited till you voted. I already chose. Oh, gosh. Nice to see you all. Even if you're late to the party, thanks for popping in to say hi. Okay. So now, give this a good pressing. How are we doing? Oh, good. Our hour is not up yet. Got like a brown thread here. I don't know where that came from. Now, this is one of the tabs. Let's go ahead and press that up. This fabric looks so much, the front and back look so much alike. At first I was like, oh no, did I do this wrong? All right, we're going to tuck this under about 1/2 inch. Nothing magical about that. I'm just giving myself plenty of a seam allowance. You can see all these threads coming off because I ripped the fabric along the grain line, and that's what happens. You get all this excess. All right, So for this one, let's fold it up. Fold this in. Now fold this down. Should we do, I don't know, maybe we should do like a curve. Let's do a curve at each end. Let's do that. So this would be, I'm going to give it a pressing. These are right sides together. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, now let's do the other side. Yeah, it'd just be boring to have it just straight. Especially since the waist is nice and curved. So I'm pressing this right sides together. And we're just making this up as we go. Wait, uh-oh. Which way does the curve go? I almost did it backwards. There, that matches. So I'm going to sew along this. I'm going to keep the seam allowance pressed up. We're just going to stitch that curve on both sides, flip it to the right side out, and then press over the rest. Lorraine, I'm dying. I love that too. I love ripping along the grain line. I do too, except when I had all that embroidery and I ripped on the grain line. Do you all remember that? The rayon that I was going to do a beautiful top and now it's going to be a crop top. Yeah, just make sure. Thanks, Lorraine. I'm with you, Deb. I'm with you. Okie doke. Here we go. I know. Hey, Deborah, sorry. Hope you don't mind I called you Deb. It was just a fast thing. It's like somebody calling me Ange. This almost looks like a waitress apron. How do I know that? Because I waitressed all through high school and college. That's how. All right. I wasn't really paying a lot of attention. Hopefully that was sewn enough. Nope, I missed it. I guess I better quit looking at the camera and start looking at the needle. All right, so just a little tip for you, which I did not do. I'm going to sew this one again too, just to make sure. If you sew both of your curves starting at the same angle, so notice I'm starting at the top part and then angling down, you have a higher probability of both curves being exactly the same. If you sew one from one end and one from the other, a lot of times the curves won't end up being the same. So just a little tip for you. Right, back to the pressing. So by the way, those of you that joined late, we're making a bathing suit wrap. Or a waitress apron, whatever one you want to call it. Let's tuck that in place. Trim some of that seam allowance off there. Perfect. This is the inside of the garment. And I'm just folding this in half, covering up the seam allowance at the waistband. This is like sewing waistbands 101. And I'll trim this one off a little bit. I know sometimes white fabric can make the camera go wonky, so hopefully you've been able to see this okay. So by the way, next week we do not have a live show next week. It's fishing tournament week, which is why I needed this skirt. All right, this little part here is going to bug me. Let's get that in just a little bit. There we go, much better. All right, so we've got the entire waistband. Just pressed it under, and I will stitch it from the right side. I'm not going to stitch in the ditch. I'm going to stitch all of these little fabric frays. I'm going to be picking these out for a week. I'm going to stitch right here, right along the edge, like an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch from the edge. And what that will do is capture this bottom piece of fabric. I didn't want to do it in stitch in the ditch. And the reason is this fabric is very lightweight. I bought this because we're working on some shirts and shirt dresses for fall. And this fabric would be gorgeous as a shirt dress or a shirt. But if you stitch along this one layer of fabric, trying to hook together this waistband, you have a high probability of your fabric ripping through time, through different washes. So by sewing through all of these layers right on the edge, I'm sewing through this layer, all the seam allowances, and the inside. So it should be fine. All right, we're on to our last step. Any questions on my way over to the machine? Thanks, Lorraine. Oh, I should have brought the pants for you guys. You're going to die laughing. Okay, so Wynn doesn't watch my live shows, so I'm not worried about it. How many of you were with me in Houston, at Houston Quilt Fest, when Barbara and I were walking around buying goofy stuff? This was a couple years ago. And we found the leggings with the yardstick, like all the measurements going down the leggings. So this is so funny because a lot of times when you're catching fish in a tournament, you have to make sure they're past the minimum size, you know, I mean, whatever it is, 10.5 inches or 11 inches. And they're always like, Ange, where's your yardstick? I didn't bring it. Where's your measuring tape? So I have to bring out my nice sewing measuring tape. So I bought these leggings. I will post a photo and the whole leg is a yardstick. Have you seen those? Yeah, the guys don't know it. I'm going to wear them first day of the tournament. The fish will be so scared they're going to jump in the boat. But I will take a photo because you guys are going to just die laughing when you see it. Yeah, you have to have a good sense of humor, right? Hey, Delia. What are the crowns for, Lorraine? I don't see them. Do you see them on your side? Oh, they're on YouTube, huh? I don't know what the crowns are for. Oh, I could embroider the front. That'd be good, Phyllis. Not today. I need these for tomorrow. Maybe when I get home. How's that? All right, so I want to stitch from the right side. And I'm going to start in from that point. You never want to start right at that point because it could get stuck in your needle plate. So I'll go forward. I'm going to use a stitch length of 3.0. Forward, then I'll go back, and now I'll go forward. All right. I know. I always do goofy things with everybody on the boat. I'll be sure to post photos. I haven't been very good at posting photos lately because the last couple weeks I just kind of went off social to hang out with my family. But this week we'll be fishing, so I'm sure you're going to get a lot of photos. All right, we're just stitching right along the edge. Capturing both seam allowances and the underpiece. I'm just making sure I can actually see it through here. So, you know what, Phyllis? Embroidery on here would be gorgeous. Might have to do those, my lily collection on the Avenir. Oh, we got a strand, a random straggler. Now this end piece, I want to make sure this is lined up just right. So no matter which way the waistband hangs, it'll look nice. Now before I do the top stitching around the top side, I don't have to put top stitching on the top side, but I want to give it one more good pressing just to make sure. So let's take another look over here. Oh, Sandra said it shows top fans. Well, you are all my top fans, so hopefully they're giving all of you stars. And by giving it just another pressing before I top stitch the top part, I can make sure that how I folded it under, it was even. How are we doing? Not even the hour yet, and we have an entire skirt finished. Love it. You know where else embroidery would look really pretty on here? Is on the waistband. Okay, so now it's your choice if you want to do one more row. I guess it really doesn't matter, but I love top stitching, so let's go for it. Oh, thanks, Lorraine. Don't forget to do the thumbs up button. Yeah, by the way, while you're there, do you mind subscribing to my YouTube channel? I would love that. I haven't looked at the tally lately, but our goal was 60,000. I know we're awfully close. Although my nephew said I shouldn't stop there. We should have 100,000, then I get a plaque. But that means I'm going to need a lot more sewing friends. So I do notice I can see that seam allowance from the waistband really good through there. So if I made another one of these, I probably would have trimmed that down to about 1/4 of an inch. But hey, it's a bathing suit cover up. Who cares? And by the way, if you went to buy these in the store, you know they're expensive. All right. Ready for the big reveal? Got one little thread here. Not that it matters. I've got lots of Kai scissors on the fishing boat, as you all know. And my thread cutters. All right. Let's see what we got. In 1 hour, including making up our minds what we wanted to use, we're all finished. Now, I have a mic pack on, so it's going to be too big. I mean, too small probably a little bit, but... Oh my, I love it. I love it. I wanted it to hang open a little bit. I didn't want to have too much fabric there because you'll have a bathing suit on. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Okay, let's see what it looks like on our beautiful model here who doesn't have a mic pack. She's a little smaller than I am, but oh my goodness, this is going to be so cute. So it can hang down just a little bit in the front. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, we're done. My bathing suit cover-up is finished. And if I decide to hand dye it when I get back, I'll throw it into a dye bath. But for now, white's going to be really fun. Perfection. There you go. There you are, Tammy. Thank you for the laugh last week. That was you, I think. Was that you that said something about I need a rotary cutter and a ruler? You're so right. I just couldn't find it. And my table was full of crap. Oh, Lorraine, we're almost there? 59.9? Oh, we got to find 1,000 friends so we can have a party. So bathing suit cover up is finished. You can see the whole thing here. Let me just bring it up. You've got darts in the back that are angled towards in. There's the side seams. Then it wraps to the front. This is going to be perfect. I probably won't be posting a photo of this because that means I'll have my bathing suit on, but you'll have to trust me. It's going to be super cute. All right, any questions? Perfection. Oh yeah, the move it foot would work on this, Tammy, for sure. Thanks, Lorraine. A skirt in under an hour and visiting. You could whip these out so fast. Hey, Amanda. So that's your show for the day. Don't forget, Fashion Sewing Club members. Look at the mess I made. Now you know why my studio always looks like this, because I sew and throw. Fashion Sewing Club, don't forget, you can go back in and watch how to sew darts and also how to get rid of that gapping in your armhole if you're making a tank top. And in our next Fashion Sewing Club, we're going to talk about the gapping in the armhole and how to adjust your sleeve and princess seams. So a lot of fun. Hey, Brenda, great to see you. All right, I think this is fun. So I hope you all have a fabulous week. What's left of it. Tomorrow we've got a Brother live show at noon on Brother's page. Who's coming on tomorrow? Laura Pfeiffer. She always has cool upcycle items. So yeah, very fun. I know someone said you could upcycle this. I know, but I'd rather sew off of a bolt. That's just me. I know. It is a mess. Oh, so Francie says that's not a mess. Well, you should see the other side of my studio because it is a mess. So great to see you all. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you're on Facebook, share it to your page because then your friends can see it. All right, everyone. Till next time. Happy sewing.